Okay, well, I'll call this School Board Training Advisory Committee meeting to order. And we know, I guess we have two people who are unable to attend. And Allie, do you want to read the statement of necessity and go from there?
Yes. Allie Reed, Director of Engagement and Accountability for the State Board. The Tennessee School Board Training Advisory Committee submits this determination of necessity for its meeting held via WebEx at noon Central Time on April 17, 2024. This meeting was called to review and recommend for approval the remaining school board training course applications that required further review as a result of the committee's prior meeting on March 22nd. Due to the time-sensitive nature of the items on the agenda, and due to the fact that the committee members reside across the state, it was determined that a physical quorum of the members could not be assembled in Nashville for purposes of this meeting, and as such, this meeting shall be conducted electronically. The following committee members announced participation in the meeting via teleconference: Bob Eby, our chair, Sarah Morrison, Amy Owen, David Stevens, and we have both Alina Bell and Patty Stakes, who are unable to join us today, though Alina did provide notes on the remaining applications that I will read when it comes time. Notice of the meeting was posted on the State Board's website, along with the agenda and instructions for accessing the WebEx. Rob, we'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. So today is to follow up on the meeting that we had and to address those issues that we had asked for people to come back to. Final review of revised prospective course provider application materials. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Allie.
Okay, so starting with the first one I have up is Clarksville Montgomery. And so we had requested from them just clarification on whether or not they were intending for their trainings to be 1 year or multiple years. And they did provide us with an explanation of a response and explanation being that they were planning to have it for the full 3 years and how they would adjust the session in order to not have the same thing over and over again and evolve over the next couple of years. And so this one, based on that information, was rated as fully meeting the standard. And I do have notes from Alina, but I'll open it up to you all first for discussion.
Are there any questions for Allie based on the response that we received?
No.
Okay. Allie, do you want to pass on what Alina said?
Yes. So on this one, Alina noted that she wanted to see how Clarksville Montgomery proposed to deepen their cabinet and board member interactions based on Mrs. Huff's explanation in the email on their multi-year tiered approach. And so with this one, she recommended that this only partially meets the standard.
Any comments or questions associated with Alina's comments? My understanding is that they did respond to the questions that we sent in, and I was generally in favor with what they did. I didn't have any issues associated with that, but I also understand Alina's comment. Any other people have any concerns?
No, I didn't have any concern.
No, I think her comment is well taken.
Go ahead, Amy.
I think her comment is well taken, and it might be something that they evolve over time as they see what the needs are in that relationship. But it was not, to my mind, to a level of severity that it couldn't move forward.
I think that's exactly right. So based on that, are any further comments or questions on this proposal?
This is Sarah. I
If
didn't
not,
have a concern
go ahead,
either.
Sarah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wonder, I mean, is there any world where we want to approve it for 1 year and then come back to see it? Or remind me, Allie, is this a multi-year approval? How does that work?
It is up to the committee how long you want to approve it for. It can be anywhere between 1 and 3 years.
And again, we're not approving it. We're setting a recommendation that we send to the state board, and the state board will approve it. And I think it's important that the state board get Alina's comments in our consideration.
Yes, good clarification.
Is there a motion on then what we would recommend to the state board for this proposal?
I make a motion that we approve Clarkson Montgomery County School Systems Training Course Stronger Together Board Retreat.
Thank you, David. We got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, do we need to clarify for how many years we move for it to be approved?
Yes.
David, what do you think?
Well, I'm fine with it being 1 or 3. I agree that question is there, but I don't think that is something that would prevent us. But I'll go with the will of the group. I'll take any suggestions to a friendly amendment to the length. So
I'm fine with 3 years as well.
I'm fine with 3 years as long as we identify to them this concern. And as you, I think, Amy, were suggesting, is that as this evolves, we think this is something that they ought to continue to work toward and make clear. But I don't see that changing my thought on what we would recommend.
I agree. So I
agree
amended
too.
to prove it for 3 years, for a 3-year
3
term.
years. Okay.
Second that motion.
Any further comments or discussions? If none, this doesn't require a roll call vote or anything like that, Amy, just a vote, right? I mean, Ally?
I am never the best person to ask for this, so
Yeah,
let's
no,
do
it's-
roll
I mean,
call
this
just to be
isn't-
safe.
This doesn't, work. So all in favor of approving for 3 years, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next item?
Thank you. Okay, next one is RH3 Consulting. And so we did provide this individual with some specific feedback of a couple small adjustments that he needed to make in the materials. And so he did provide the updated course materials, an explanation of the $3,000 fee that he would charge for full governing boards to complete the training, and then an update or an additional few questions addressing the participants' achievement of the learning objectives as we had requested. So given those changes, this now fully meets the requirements of the rubric. And again, I do have comments from Alina, but I'll open it up to you all first.
Any comments?
I didn't have any.
I was fine with the revised stuff that they sent in. Alina, did she have any specific comments?
Yes, so Alina noted that she is concerned that there's not enough value for the cost of the training, though he did provide the information requested. So she still said that she was in agreement that it meets the standard. And I think as we've discussed previously, certainly we are just providing options. And if a board wants to pay that money, then they certainly can choose to do so.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line, is that you have the option to utilize them or not. And if they're not competitive and you've got somebody that's more competitive and just as high quality, that's where you would go to. So I don't see that as a reason for us not to approve.
And certainly he can choose to reduce that fee if that's the feedback he's receiving from boards.
All right, it looks like we lost one other board member in Sarah. I don't see her on anymore.
I believe she's trying to join on the computer. Let me check with her. I wonder if I have her here now. Yes, okay. Got her.
There she is. Oh, nope. Came in one way. There she is back.
Sorry.
Hey, Sarah.
I think I had this trouble last time trying to switch modes, but I'm here and I heard everything you said. I'm with you.
All right. So with that, then can I have a motion basically to approve the for 3 years?
I'll make the motion to approve for 3
Okay.
years.
I'll second.
And in a second, any further discussions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Ally?
Okay, next one, we have Leadership Prep Charter School, and they submitted 2 courses for approval. And so both of them received very similar feedback from our last conversation and did require a few small updates to their course materials. And then, which they did submit the revised materials and had a little bit more detail as to how the additional materials they had provided would be used throughout the training. They noted that previously they had said there would be a fee for those outside of the organization, but removed that when we asked just what that was for. So it is free for anyone interested. And they did note how they would be providing completion reports to the authorizer as required in state board rule. So both of these similar responses here in terms of the final rubric assessment, and it seems that the one I uploaded did not have the recommendation marked here. So both of them are fully meeting the requirements of the rubric.
And we can vote on both of these at the same time, right?
Sure.
Are there any
And
questions?
Lena didn't have additional comments for this, just agreement that it met the standard.
I
Any-
just have a curiosity more than anything. If they're removing the fee and making it open to people outside their network, what is their capacity like if they suddenly got a lot of interest from people outside the network for whatever reason? Is that something they'd be able to accommodate, or would that be unlikely to occur because it's fairly specific training?
I don't know the capacity for that. It's a great question. But I will say that there are a few other charter schools that offer something similar. And while it is open to other charter governing board members outside of their organization, it is unlikely that they would seek that out, since it tends to be tailored towards their specific members.
If another board decided that they wanted to use them and they didn't have the capability to respond, I mean, they're not required to
Sure.
do it, right?
They're not. There is other choice. So, you know, if for whatever reason Leadership Prep that didn't work out, like they have other options to choose from. But it is also an option to say it's only open to their board members. And so I'm not sure if Leadership Prep realized that or felt obligated to say that it could be for anyone, but they certainly can choose to keep it restricted to their own board as well.
Gotcha.
Any further questions? If no questions, then is there a motion to accept the 3 years for the Leadership Prep courses?
Yep. So moved.
David moves and Amy seconds. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries too. Ally?
And our last one for today is from KIPP Nashville. They had 2 that they submitted, small edits that we requested from them. So for their annual board member training, they made an update to the self-evaluation survey for participants to complete. While they did update they did update those materials, and we're now also asking participants to reflect on and discuss their understanding and the effectiveness of the training, which is exactly what we had requested. And that was true across both trainings. And in the second one, the new board member, we had also asked for copies of the PowerPoint presentation deck that aligned to the training. And so they did provide that. And that was in full alignment to the description that they had provided as well. So with that, we have both of them being recommended as fully meeting the standard.
Any questions for Ally? No questions, and can we have a motion to accept the 3 years?
If I may read Alina's note as well on this one.
Oh, she had a note. Okay, yeah, okay.
She recommended that it also fully meets the standard, and she just wanted to note that we did provide an extension to them, so she wanted to make note of that exception.
Any further comments or questions? Is there a motion then to accept?
I'll make the motion for 3 years.
Sarah moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
David seconds. Any further discussions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Does that complete the list, Ally?
That does. We did have 6 in total, so today we finalized the recommendations for the remaining 4. At our last meeting, the committee did recommend that we do not recommend approval for the remaining 2 that we did not discuss today. So that is our 6 in total.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Ally for everything she's done in preparing for these. I mean, you look at those rubrics and the amount of time and effort that that team goes through and reviews and recommendations. It makes our job a lot easier. But this is a very critical, important job that we have to train the board members to be more effective in the jobs that they do. And so thank you, Ally, and then thank each one of you for serving on this. I guess there are 3 years are up for all of them or just part of them, Ally?
For everyone, so this is a 3-year appointment. There are in rules some requirements in terms of having a member of the state board, a designee, or the commissioner and the state board's executive director or designee serving on the committee. But David Stevens is a perfect example of having served for the last 3 years and done so with a lot of grace, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
And I do think we've improved the process just again by having this advisory committee that we can take a recommendation to the state board, and then we on the state board will have much more confidence that this has been reviewed and go with the recommendation. Doesn't mean that they will pass the recommendation, but at least having that gives me confidence in what we're doing. So thank you to everybody. Any further items of discussion? If none, then I will adjourn the meeting and thank each one of you and have a great day. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Everybody,
much.
have a good
Bye-bye.
one.